A singer can sound open, warm, and expressive in a private lesson. Then someone enters the room, or the singer has to perform. The breath shortens, the throat holds, the sound narrows. Nothing in the vocal mechanism has suddenly become incapable. The conditions have changed, and the voice responds. The voice belongs to a person, not an isolated instrument. And sometimes sound alone doesn't tell the whole story. Your voice is audible behavior. It emerges through breath, posture, muscle coordination, attention, and intention. Every sound gives us information, but sound doesn't give us the whole picture. The first movement is from voice to body. A singer may produce pressed sound, lose range, struggle with a high note, or speak with very little volume. These patterns invite technical observation. Is the jaw tight? Are the shoulders lifted? Is the breath being held before the phrase begins? Is airflow reduced because the body is bracing? These questions matter. A teacher still listens for registration, breath pressure, resonance, articulation, and the coordination between them. If a singer pushes too much air against the vocal folds, that needs attention. If the tongue pulls back or the jaw restricts the mouth, that needs attention too. Person-first work doesn't ask us to stop hearing the technical detail. It asks us to hear the detail in context. A tight jaw may tell us that the jaw is tight. It doesn't tell us why. Raised shoulders may show that the upper body is working too hard. Yet they don't tell us whether a singer lacks a physical skill, feels watched, or tries to avoid making a mistake, or has simply arrived after a difficult day. The sound gives clues. It doesn't give a complete explanation. Bodies respond to conditions. A person who feels safe may breathe more freely and allow more sound. A person who feels exposed may hold the breath and reduce movement without trying to do so. The same singer may behave differently with a trusted teacher than with an evaluator. They may sound freer when alone than when a parent listens. A producer, an audition panel, or an audience can change the meaning of the task. The notes remain the same. The room may remain the same. Still, the person's relationship to that moment has changed. This is where identity enters the voice. Some singers have learned that taking up space brings criticism. Some have learned that being correct brings approval. Others have spent years trying not to inconvenience anyone, speak too loudly, fail publicly, or show too much feeling. These aren't always conscious thoughts. They can become familiar habits of restraint. A singer may call themselves shy, perfectionistic, quiet, difficult, loud, or just not good enough. Those descriptions can shape what they permit themselves to do when they sing. Voice work can then become more than correcting a vowel or adjusting breath pressure. It can involve noticing whether the singer gives themselves permission to make sound before they judge it. And no one arrives in a lesson without a history, a culture, relationships, and daily demands. Culture teaches people how loudly to speak, when to defer, how emotion should appear in public, and what respect looks in a conversation. In some families, a direct voice feels ordinary. In others, it can feel confrontational. In some settings, restraint carries dignity. In others, expressiveness is expected. Neither pattern is a vocal defect. Each one can shape vocal behavior. Relationships also enter the voice. A person may feel heard in one relationship and interrupted in another. They may expect judgment from someone whose opinion carries weight, or feel required to perform a role that leaves little room for uncertainty. These experiences can affect how readily the body releases breath and sound. Daily life matters as well. Sleep, workload, travel, caregiving, financial pressure, illness, and the simple exhaustion of trying to meet too many demands all affect recovery and attention. A singer cannot separate the voice from the life that they lead. Life doesn't remain outside the studio door. It enters before the sound begins. The reverse is also true. We recognize it in ordinary life. Imagine that someone has just had a difficult conversation with a person that they care about. Perhaps the conversation ended without resolution. Perhaps there was disappointment, conflict, or words that remained unsaid. The conversation ends when the person doesn't simply leave behind when they walk into the next room. Thoughts continue. The body may hold that exchange for some time. Shoulders become tense. Breathing changes. Speech may be quieter, faster, or more guarded. The person may struggle to find words or may speak with more force than they had intended. Nothing has suddenly happened to the vocal folds. The person using them has changed. Our bodies respond to the conditions around us, often before we've consciously decided how we feel about them. When a situation feels demanding or exposing, muscles may tighten, breathing may become shallower, and the attention may narrow. These responses aren't deliberate choices or signs of poor character. They're ways that bodies manage situations. For singing, this can mean that habits which are available in a calm rehearsal can become harder to access under pressure. The singer may understand the instruction. They may have done the exercise well many times before. Yet in an audition or performance, the body may organize itself differently. That isn't a personal failure. It isn't proof that a singer lacks discipline. It tells us how the conditions have changed. During rehearsal, there may be room to explore, repeat, stop, and adjust. During an audition, every phrase can feel as though it carries a verdict. Singing alone may allow a more natural sound, while singing in front of someone whose opinion carries weight can bring a different level of caution. The task looks identical from the outside. The internal conditions are not identical. This also explains why technical instruction can land differently at different moments. A direction like let the jaw move, use less pressure, may already be clear in principle. But if the body is braced, it may not have easy access to that change. The singer hasn't become incapable. The teacher is simply needing to understand what the body is doing before asking it to do something else. A person of first approach asks better questions. What changes between contacts? When does the sound become freer? What happens when it changes? These questions don't move us away from technical work. They help us use it with more care. Understanding the person does not replace technique. It gives us more information about how to use technique. Not every vocal difficulty comes from emotion, psychology, or trauma. A tight jaw may simply need work. A singer may need a clearer vowel, a different breath pressure, or more practice with a skill. Medical and technical issues remain real. Pain, persistent hoarseness, sudden voice loss, or other medical concerns need medical assessment. Sometimes the problem is technical. Sometimes the conditions around the technique matter. Our job is to learn the difference. Return to the singer from the beginning. In private, the voice sounds free, warm, and expressive. Under pressure, it narrows. That singer may still need technical work, but their technical capacity hasn't disappeared. Their access to it has changed. So, if technique is so important, why doesn't it always solve the problem? We explore this in the next video.